What's up, guys? So the Loki series is half over, and it's proving to be quite an amazing series. Possibly even better than the previous two, dare I say. The series so far has focused on the Loki from Avengers Endgame who stole the Tesseract, and then ended up in a desert, where he was intercepted by the TVA, or the Time Variance Authority. This organization operates out of an unknown city and oversees everything to do with what they call the Sacred Timeline. As it is, everything that happens in the MCU is all part of one continuity that's protected by the Timekeepers, mysterious beings who apparently created the TVA. So, when Loki stole the Tesseract, it deviated from the Sacred Timeline's plan. We know what's supposed to happen. After the events of the first Avengers, Loki gets imprisoned on Asgard and Thor the Dark World. But now, that's not going to happen. So Loki goes before a judge named Judge Ravonna Renslayer to decide his fate. Just then, Agent Mobius, one of the TVA's top agents, decides to, instead, use Loki to help him track down a new threat, who's been jumping around different areas in time, causing fuckery. After a brief sit-down with Mobius, Loki learns about what should have happened to him, including his death by the hands of Thanos. This sparks a slow change in Loki as he offers Mobius a hand in catching the criminal. But who are they even after? Well, funny enough, it's actually Loki. But a Loki from another timeline, which the TVA calls a variant. So apparently there's a lot of different timelines, but they all, flow the same way, and they're all, I guess, connected somehow. But there's a bunch of different versions of every character. So there's a million different Lokis, I guess. I mean, technically this Loki is a variant because he's not the one that died in Infinity War. So, yeah. It gets a bit confusing, but it's fine. I will say, though, if this Loki is a variant because he altered time and stole the Tesseract, wouldn't the Avengers be held accountable as well? Or at least maybe Captain America? I mean, the whole time heist thing? Nope. They explain that away pretty quickly and say that they're good. So, I guess it's conditional. Anyway, so Mobius and Loki track the variant to an abandoned supermarket where Loki learns the variant's identity. She, yes, I did say she, is in fact Loki, but goes by the name Sylvie Laffydaughter. This version of the character never truly embraced her Asgardian upbringing the way our Loki did. And not only that, but there is a Lady Loki in the comics, which is just a female Loki pretty much. The MCU merged this character with another one named the Enchantress. So who's the Enchantress then? Well, she was a girl named Sylvie Lushton, who was given powers by Loki, similar to his own. So this female Loki in the series that we're getting is actually an amalgamation of the two characters. In episode 2, Mobius and Loki are going through all these different documents, and they find out that Sylvie is hiding out in all these timelines where an apocalypse occurs. Kind of like Ragnarok. And then Loki determined that, because of the catastrophic event, the variant's presence in that time period has no effect on the timeline, due to it ending pretty much with that event. So that's why she's unable to be traced. I know, it gets confusing. Timelines. So while they're at the supermarket, Sylvie sets off all these bombs that she's planted all throughout time, causing the Sacred Timeline to split into the Multiverse of Madness. Just as she's escaping, Loki follows her to a planet called Lamentis 1, a moon that's about to crash into its planet, destroying them both. And then, of course, once they get there, the device that transported them there breaks, stranding them on the planet. So that's pretty much where it gets left off. I will say there's a brief moment where the city on the planet's falling apart and crumbling all around them, and Loki manages to stop time for a moment while this building's falling down. And yeah, a lot of people think that he's just using his Loki magic. I don't think so. So to backtrack, there's a scene where Loki's talking to this guy Casey who works at the TVA, and on his desk he has a fucking thing, a whole thing full of Infinity Stones just chilling there. And Loki's like, why? Why do you have all these? But Mobius and this Casey guy both make a point to say that time moves differently in the TVA, and that not only are Loki's powers useless there, but the Infinity Stones mean nothing in like this TVA place. So that's a bit sketch, first of all. And he kind of picks up the time stone and looks at it, and it's kind of dismissed from there. So in this scene, I think, personally, Loki has the time stone, and he's using it to reverse time. Just a theory. Okay, so now I want to get into what this video is actually about. The TVA. Where the hell is it located? Like I just said, in the show, Mobius says that time works differently in the TVA, and that everybody working there has been there forever, pretty much, and that they're all created by the timekeepers. So pretty much everybody that works at the TVA has never left there. And the timekeepers, well, they're really vague about them. All we see is a statue of them, and yeah, I'll get to that. So Loki explains this whole thing to Sylvie about the people always being at the TVA, and she just laughs it off and tells him that that's bullshit. That everybody working there had lives previously. Even some people lived on Earth. So that leads me to believe that whoever these timekeepers are kidnapping people throughout time and then forcing them to work at the TVA. And maybe even like taking their memories away, I guess. I do happen to know that the judge, Ravana Renslayer, is actually romantically tied to Kang the Conqueror. And if you don't know him, he's basically a time traveler related to Reed Richards. And yeah, those statues that I mentioned, this one in the middle is clearly Kang the Conqueror. They haven't said it yet, but come on, bro. So I believe that Kang the Conqueror is actually running the TVA, and these other two on the other sides of him are just different versions of him from another time. But even with that part answered, where the hell's the TVA located? There's been a new theory floating around the internet that I feel like I came up with first, so I'll take the credit for it. Thank you. Back in Ant-Man and the Wasp, we got a close look at the quantum realm, a microscopic realm where time moves differently. It was explored even closer in Avengers Endgame when the Avengers used it to retrieve the Infinity Stones from the past. And if you recall, that part in Ant-Man and the Wasp when Hank goes back to rescue Janet, there's a brief shot of a tiny city in the background. It never gets explained, and it's just kind of there. This kind of blew up all over the internet, and some people thought that the Fantastic Four were trapped there this whole time, and then some people called that Doctor Doom's palace. So a lot of people are trying to make sense of this tiny city, and yeah, that's the TVA. It makes perfect sense if you think about it. Time moves differently there, just like in the TVA. No powers or Infinity Stones work there. Come on, guys. The TVA is in the quantum realm. Mic drop. I know, right? Mind-blowing. I'll let that sink in for a while, and I'll see you guys on the next one.